We got some awesome news coming out of the AHL as Arber Xhekaj continues to dominate with a fight, and now up to 7 points in 9 games. It is time for him to come back to the main roster. We'll be discussing that, and hey, we really could have used him in this game against the Florida Panthers, where despite the loss 4-1, there were some positives to say about the Habs, though at the same time, there are some big fixes that need to be made. We're going to be discussing all that on this episode of Habs Digest. But before we get into the video, a quick reminder, as I've seen so many of you guys talking about, and shout out to you, Tony, in the comments for asking our other viewers to subscribe too, but reminder, 50% of you guys watching are not subscribed. We're like 200 subscribers away from 10,000. It's almost a new year, so thank you all for your support, first and foremost. But if you haven't hit the button, do it now, because we have daily Habs content. Let's jump first into the game. We got to talk a bit about Habs versus Panthers, and Jesse, this wasn't a pretty game. Habs had about 10 shots halfway through the third period. They ended with 19, a nice second after the third. They showed some signs of life. No doubt, of course, spearheaded by Suzuki, Caufield, and that Slafkovsky line. But boy, as always, feel free to pause. Take a look at the stats. Not pretty. Caufield, obviously, with the power play goal, though, from Suzuki and Matheson. Really, really nice game. Nice to see Caufield score. Like, that line, I thought, played really well in the game, and the game card reflects that. Suzuki and Caufield right at the top. Slafkovsky a little bit lower, but, you had some miscellaneous stuff and some production show up for Suzuki and Caufield because of the points on the power play. If Slav had gotten an assist, which he could have, he would have been higher. But some brutal games from Gallagher, Dvorak, that Struble-Harris pairing, not so great. Jesse, what were your takeaways from this game? Because I know a lot of Habs fans are kind of, maybe kind of upset about this, but hey, there's always something to smile about.
The fact that Caufield scoring again, and the thought of him maybe getting on a streak again is very exciting for sure. But I mean, we were in this game, right? In the third period, a common theme again. We're giving ourselves, a swinging chance of winning this game. But again, it was kind of those penalties, Josh, and not just the penalties, but taking the penalties like in the offensive zone. But just kind of what was the cherry on top of that, on top of taking that bad penalty, is now when Florida's on the power play and just letting wrist the line and come right into Jake Allen's kitchen, right where he cooks the bacon, right in front of the net, for his second goal of the game there. So that's kind of the difference, right? Just some of those bad penalties, and just that's it. Just maybe not being able to get enough shots on the net, it's like that tip shot from the end, Florida. It's kind of the difference. Like, we were really close, but just we weren't able to get to the front of the net, where it's shown statistically speaking for the Montreal Canadiens, as Martin St. Louis said, when we go to the front of the net, we get success. That's where it happens. So unfortunately, we weren't able to really do that tonight.
Yeah, it was kind of baffling. Like Eetu Luostarinen has not had a multi-goal game in his entire career. He comes into this game and gets 2 power play goals with that second one especially. But like, it felt like he was just walking to the net. Like, it was the same thing in the Carolina game. Like, that player who's down on Jake Allen's right side on the goal line, in the Carolina game, they did the same thing. Now, they didn't score off it, but Luostarinen definitely took advantage tonight. They give him the puck, and he just walks in front of Allen. And Savard and Matheson are just kind of looking at him, like waving their sticks, doing whatever, and he just walks into the paint and just puts it over Allen's shoulder. I was like, what is happening? Like, the penalty kill, Jesse, that's been a bit of a problem. Recently, I've noticed a lot more. I feel like teams are really able to get a lot of stuff against the Habs PK. Is that a concern for you moving forward? Because I feel like we weren't talking about that necessarily earlier in the year, but recently I just feel like the Habs just can't get a kill to save their lives.
Right. No, it is a solid point. And I misspoke on the goal scorer's name earlier. Excuse me for that. But we're actually 29th in the league right now on the PK. Like, it is a problem. It is a concern, right? We're allowing far too many opportunities, in that way, right? So we definitely want to turn that around. But I think the biggest thing is like not taking enough shots on net. We're able to get a respectable amount at the end, but it's just, you're not giving yourself a good chance to win. Like, I've seen Nuns take more shots than the Montreal Canadiens did tonight. Like, you got to get a little bit more than that to really stay in it, but at the same time, we're still giving ourselves a chance, which is so surprising with this young team, despite so many injuries. You have to feel like, okay, maybe we don't take a penalty here. Maybe we have a Kirby Dach there. And, and this game's completely different, right? So I like that, we're staying consistent with a game, but obviously I think this young team knows the things that it needs to address.
Yeah, 100%. And like, some games I forget, like, oh yeah, Raphael Harvey-Pinard is still hurt too. Oh, Alex Newhook as well. I know Dach's out for the season. It's like so many guys, and like, right, they're going to come back and this team's going to be even better. But yeah, like you said, we were in this game to the end. Another really bad time penalty from Yoel Armia. I'm seeing a lot of hate towards Armia. I thought he's been playing a very solid stretch of hockey these last number of weeks. Last few games, definitely not his best. He's definitely made some pretty bad mistakes. These offensive zone penalties, not good. And you got to think Marty and the staff are just kind of like, that's enough of that. Like, we can't have that. But at the same time, I thought he's been playing good hockey. I'm seeing a lot of negativity towards him. But at the end of the day, Jesse, it's a loss. You take it. You move on. It's still part of the road trip. Florida's a good team, and they're really finding their stride now. So hopefully Montreal can bounce back in their next game. But I really feel like, I can't help but feel like they could have used a certain guy tonight. And last game, too, against Carolina, especially when Slafkovsky took that hit. That's Xhekaj, because he has been so good. Also, random weird thing today, Arber and Florian Xhekaj, I think it was either today or yesterday, they scored at like the same time or got a point at the same time. It was kind of cool. But Xhekaj has been awesome. Here's the scoring leaders for Laval. Xhekaj had 7 points in 9 games. That is unbelievable, really. He's a -1, but the Laval team itself is not amazing. You see Joshua was a -15 and Logan Maillou's a -11. But yeah, he has been just on a tear. And he actually had a fight today as well. And he held his own. He held his own. That edge, Jesse, I feel like we've missed that a lot from the Habs. And I feel like he'd give the Habs such a spark with him performing so well. I feel like now it's just a matter of time for him to come up to the main roster. We've talked about this a lot, but now especially, it's like we've had 2 games in a row where we really could have used his presence. He is getting better and better every single game. He's limiting his turnovers. He's doing everything right. The Habs seem to need him. The only problem is, where do you make room? And I feel like that's the only thing holding Xhekaj back from being called back up.
He's going to make a huge difference, though, for this team once he's done. As we know, he's already a rough and tumble type of player. Now imagine him going to the AHL for his first time, which is very much a rough league as well. You have to feel like this is just improving on some good skills that he has while eliminating some of the lesser ones as well. But you have to feel like there's even like a blessing in disguise of him getting some opportunities to play with Logan Mailloux and kind of develop some chemistry there. You have to feel like that could possibly be a very good pairing for the Montreal Canadiens in the future. And the more repetitions they can get in Laval, it bodes really well for the future. But I mean, this guy, not only is he producing points, as we've mentioned, but he's also contributing to winning hockey games. We've seen lately, this is just statistics from a couple games back, but he had helped the Laval Rocket win 4 of their last 7 games. And before that, it wasn't pretty.
No,
they had
not.
Basically won like 5 in their last 20 before Xhekaj joined the team. He's came over there and he's helped this team a lot, which is important for your whole organization that's in a rebuild for the Rocket to be doing well. So he's really doing a service to the whole club by being there right now.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. Like you said, Xhekaj's doing Xhekaj things, and he knows that Montreal wants him back, and he knows what he needs to do to get back there. And like you said, him with Mailloux is really interesting, and Mailloux also has been quite good, tied for 3rd on the team in goals with 5. Definitely not a huge number, but still very interesting. He's been putting up points. I'm going to flash that back up again. Actually, not there. This one. Well, this one. That's right. Of course, I meant to put that up. He's 3rd on the team in points, tied for 3rd in goals with 5. He's been amazing. Some other names there as well. Joshua Wall's cooled off a bit, but he's been solid. But Xhekaj, the question is, Jesse, as we kind of head into the end of the video, it's a question we've asked so many times: who goes? Jordan Harris is no longer waiver exempt, right? He can't be sent down without another team probably trying to claim him, and I think they will. Jayden Struble is waiver exempt, and I believe Justin Barron is as well. And with Barron making a lot of defensive mistakes, I know his offensive upside's there. He has 6 goals, right? He has 6 goals in the NHL this year. I see a lot of people saying maybe it's him who's the odd man out. I don't know. Here's my hot take, not a real one. Play Barron at forward. You got to do something. You got to do something to get Xhekaj back, because I just feel like with his edge, this is just a different team. And even in these games where it's being decided in the final, like half of the 3rd period, he can just add so much to the team. Maybe I'm overselling him, but I really think he can be a difference maker.
The defenseman dilemma once again for these Montreal Canadiens. That's why we have to
Too many.
Really figure it out sooner than later for sure. Like, you'd have to feel like the betting odds would be in Struble, kind of going back, just because Barron's really established himself over, the course of a couple of seasons now with the Montreal Canadiens. Mm-hmm. The turnovers are a very true point, but it's a great point that you make all the same. And this is a very important decision that Habs management's got to make very soon, because, I mean, Jayden Struble in his defense has played very good hockey as well in a lot of ways. Like, you want to validate that good play. You want to keep them up when they're playing well. It sets a good example for other plays coming up. If you're going to play well, we're going to keep you in the lineup, right? But it just comes to that situation once again, right? But obviously, Xhekaj brings so much to this team. We're just having so much internal competition. Like, how many prospects are we have showing up right now? We have Jayden Struble, we have Caden Primeau, who was not a given that he's looking like the backup now for this team. That was not a given coming into this season whatsoever. We got so many other young guys. We thought Norlinder was done. He's coming back. It's like, and we could obviously list so many more, right? So it seems like our development team is turning out some good players, which has been a good issue in the past. It's just like, now what do we do once we see that they're developing in a way that we like?
It's time to trade them. You got to trade someone at some point. You got to get something back.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some more future assets. Maybe it's a player to help win now. Regardless, having too many guys and stunting their development is never a situation you want to be in. But there's going to be some teams that are willing to pay a decent price for a lot of what Montreal has to offer. So all we can do is wait and see. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. What do you think of Arber Xhekaj? I think a lot of you guys think he should be back up, but remind us in the comments how much you guys love Xhekaj and want to see him back with the Habs. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.